Howdy, 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 and welcome to The Dirty Dish. I am Diana Nguyen, your host, and I'm very excited about this episode because by now you would have known that I had a egg retrieval. I like to call it scooping. It's much more gentle and soft. I wish there was some kind of SMR about scooping and retrieval. Retrieval sounds so hard, but scooping is so beautiful. You also now have found out that I also did my first fresh embryo transfer of having a baby on my own. Wow. So this episode is going to be talking about the journey of finishing Melbourne International Comedy Festival, getting straight into my egg scooping, and then going into a fresh embryo transfer. And this journey doesn't have a happy ending. As we know, these things may take a little while. I don't want to take it too long, but I was also being real that I've never been pregnant before and I don't know what my body is doing. And I do have endometriosis and age, always been reminded by my age that it might be a little too late. The Dirty Dish is my place to just let it out and just speak my heart. And we will speak my heart, and I look so hot. So I've known a while that I was going to have a baby on my own, and it all clicked in last year. I did an episode about my cyst growing, and I think the cyst was a massive indicator that something wasn't right. Like I was so stressed out in my 40th birthday year that number one, I didn't have a partner. Number two, I didn't have a partner to have a baby with. And number three, there was no baby. And I think that I had placed this stress on me because I'm pretty much a goal setter. And I thought by now I would have ticked these boxes. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. And so in my stress, I just rubbed my face and ended up growing a cyst. Whoa, it was a reminder that, oh my God, Didi, please stop stressing. Do what you have to do. Speak your truth. And, you know, the assistance of friends and extra stuff, I made a decision that this was going to happen. I was going to have a baby on my own. It was very clear. It was very clear that we were going to make this happen. So in November, just before I went to Vietnam, I went to see my fertility doctor, Dr. Daniel Lantsberg, and he'd been really patient with me. When I had my egg retrieval 3 years ago, he highly recommended that I do another egg retrieval. But I said to him, hey, I don't feel great, and this is just a backup plan. Like, I'm going to find someone. Just hang on a minute there, sir. Let's save some money and let me just freeze these 6 eggs that we've got, half a dozen, and I'm going to go and set my goal of going travel the world, and which I did in 2024. I packed my bags, let go of my share house that I was living in North Fitzroy, and went overseas for 4 months and had the best time of my life. And I highly recommend doing a sabbatical for yourself, no matter how long that is. Whatever that is, go and do it for yourself. And I did it. It was on my bucket list that if I was going to have a baby, I wanted this time to myself. And I did it. And I'm so grateful. There is no regrets. Sometimes the regrets of the bank account and not having a house, but I have such great memories and joy and nostalgia and growth and romanticism of the life that I know I will have when this child is born. This child and I will go travel the world together. And I'm so excited for this. So seeing Dr. Lantsberg in November. So we looked at the calendar, we did my blood tests, and I'm pretty good. Now, one thing you should know about me is that I am not great with scientific stats and data and names for things, but I'm very good at feeling. All I know is that my blood tests were great. If you are here to hear about scientific things about fertility, I am not that person. I'm more of a storyteller, a journey person, hero's journey. We're going all the way to the end. And so in November, blood test is done and we looked at our schedules. And my schedule was clearly saying December, Christmas, cannot do. January, cannot do because I'm going to Vietnam, already booked with my family, so I can't be pregnant on this trip to Vietnam. And then March, and I was like, oh God, comedy festival is happening, can't do March. April, I knew I was only doing a half season show for the comedy festival, and we were like, okay, April, when my menstrual cycle happens, it's looking like April's a good time. What we also didn't consider was that in May, I was also going to do Sydney Comedy Festival. So I waited January, February, and March. And I think that's when I reconnected with Dr. Lantsberg and said, hey, I think we're going for it. I think we're doing it. I think we're going to do it. And I've told friends at this point for New Year's Eve, I sent everyone a post saying, hey, 2026, we're going to have a baby on our own. And I sent this to my immediate family and friends just to let them updated that this is the new year. It was the new manifestation year. I went into Melbourne International Comedy Festival knowing this. And the show is called Pedestal, and it's about, what happens when you take love off the pedestal and the things that you do. Now, this is a funny thing that I talk about in my show, which is that when my sis grew, now the funny thing about this joke, this story, the joke about this is, I'm not even kidding you, I live 100 meters from a swing club. I also live 100 meters from Melbourne IVF. And in my show, I do tell my audience that I swung to Melbourne IVF and that I also swung to the swings, but I did swing back to Melbourne IVF. I think there was this kind of idea that possibly I could meet someone at a swing club. Oh dear. I thought I could meet someone there. Hilariously, I didn't because who needs more trauma? The joke was that I could go to the swing club and just collect the sperm and get myself pregnant. And I think that's been the trend over the last 3 years, as I've been quite protective of my energy. I've also been very assertive about my needs. I think I have to be honest. Also saying that when I got my cyst removed, I did go on 4 dates and I never mentioned anything about children. It was just Diana being Diana. There was no mention about Diana wanting a baby. And I kept that secret for the whole entire dating of that time. And then I think I just realized, actually, Diana, you actually do want a baby. The thing with dating and babies, it's difficult. It is so difficult. I went on a date with an older man who was 50, and on his app, it had said that he wanted children. And then we went on a date, he said open to children, which was 2 different things. I went on a first date with my ex-boyfriend, and on the date, he kind of verbatim copied whatever I said. And I said to him, hey, I'm looking to have a family with a partner that I would like to grow into a relationship with. Like, I just don't want to bang, bang, bang. I would like to have a relationship with someone that will grow into a family. And he replied in exactly the same way as I did. 18 months later, we find out actually he wasn't. He had cold feet, and that's okay. And that's something I explained in my last episode, Always Be My Baby, is that you can't force anyone to have a baby with you. And yeah, sure, men have a bit more time to relax into having a child. But I've seen some really awesome dads. Like, my girlfriends are married to these awesome fathers, and they are so lucky to have really great dads. And my sister's married to an awesome dad who just took 5 months of paternity leave to be with his kids, and he loved it. Fatherhood is something people are hesitant and scared, and there are people who just lean right into it. And I was hoping that I was going to find someone who would just lean into fatherhood real quick, put it in. And so, yeah, there was no putting in at all. The only putting in was my doctors. He saw my everything, saw my bush and everything. So I then got my period. And that's when it's time to call the nurse. And at my clinic at Melbourne IVF, and I was being really stoic. I was being really like, all right, systems go. Give me the list of things I need to do and I will do it. And I was being really strong. And I am a very strong human. I'm an ox. I will get shit done. I could feel myself being harsh on the phone with her. And then I felt myself go through a little whirl. And then I realized, oh, Dee Dee, you can't be this tough on the day one. And so I cried. I cried on the phone because I think that realization is that, yeah, we're doing this on our own. And yes, there is a village, but the village cannot be there every day. And the one person who needs to carry this is me. I had to let that go, and I had to let that nurse do what she's best at, and was to care for me. And the moment she heard my voice crack, I could hear her soften up too. And we just had this moment of going, oh shit, We're in this together. She said, all right, we come on in and we'll give you meds. And I walked 100 meters to Melbourne IVF. And I got to the clinic, sat in the pharmacy, and gosh, Melbourne IVF's doing really well. It's across these new apartment buildings, and it's a little intrusive because every person that lives across the world from Melbourne IVF can see all the women and partners trying to have a baby. I'm just curious how they feel about that. Of seeing little turmoil, courage, love, fear. There's a lot of emotions in these lounges. And I had that weeping moment while waiting for my drugs. I cried while waiting for them just to put stickers on my drugs. And when I went to pick up my drugs, I was a mess. And the pharmacist was like, do you want a tissue? And I was like, yes, please. I'm swimming right now. Got my tissue. And then I went into the nurse's room and she just gave me the lowdown on what was next and what I had to do. You know, in my softness and heart, kind of like, oh, we're doing this again. So I decided to film her doing the injection so I could see it again because it's been 3 years. 3 years is a long time. When I picked up my phone and started filming her, she's like, oh my God, Miffy. She turned her fingernail around and showed me it was a Miffy painted artwork of Miffy. And I was like, oh my God. And we just bonded over this Miffy. Really beautiful moment of us connecting over something that was quite intrusive and medical, but a bunny rabbit. And if you don't know who Miffy is, this is my baby here. This is my Miffy. And yes, I do have Miffy clothings for my child. already bought. It's already in the closet. And so, yeah, I went home and injected myself every single morning before the gym. So I go to the gym at 7:15. And the reason why I went to the gym 3 years ago, so I go to a BFT gym, high BFT gym. I go to this gym because 3 years ago I decided I wanted to be fit. If this child does arrive, I wanted to be the best body that I could be. Here we are. 3 years of gym, lots of membership costs, and here we are having a baby on our own. So every morning at about 6:45 a.m., I would inject myself. And goddamn, that first injection, you can't help but your brain go, oh God, we're doing this. Oh God, hormones. Oh God. Oh God. That was the sound I was making constantly. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. I had to do it. My housemate was luckily away on tour, so she didn't have to witness my oh God. And the one injection I will remember is my trigger, because in 2023, my trigger injection was at a K-pop concert at twice. And you can't pick the time and day of your trigger injection. It's whatever time the doctor designates for you. And in 2023, I had to bring in my bag into the Marvel Stadium. I had to show the bag to the security staff, and they read the note and said, she's all good. And I injected myself as the concert was playing. Wowzers. And so this time, I got the time of my trigger injection. It was completely opposite. It was a 12:30 a.m. injection. I was home alone. I didn't have anyone there. I didn't have 30,000 people. I was just in my space. And I kind of started to prep around my house as if I was setting up the house for the child. I started to clean up the house. I started to clean up my room, clean up the kitchen. I was writing in my journal here, and I was just getting my space into resting, peaceful, joyful. I think in 2023, because I just come out of a breakup and then gone on this 2-month, real quick, heartbreaking single woman now tour, and coming back to Melbourne and a month later going straight into IVF was a lot. And I think 3 years ago, while lying in that hospital bed, getting my eggs retrieved, I was absolutely devastated. Like, the video footage is of me just sobbing. I think everyone was surprised how upset I was. It wasn't joyful. It was like, oh God, my life has mounted to this. I hated that I had to use medicine to have a baby. How convenient. 3 years later I am. So for 2026, I was nesting, setting up my home. At 12:25, I placed my laptop in the kitchen because there's better light in there. And as I do, I filmed my trigger injection. And I just promised myself, Diana, make sure you do this with joy. Always with joy. And I did. I pumped those 3 needles inside of me. I played Olivia Dean's And I played the song Man I Need. And once the trigger injections were all done, I just danced in my living room. I just moved my body, getting that hormone injection seeping into my body. And I realize now that for my next round, I'm just going to keep moving my body because that's very, very important. And so I just moved and moved and moved. And by that time, it was, I think, now 12:45. And I thought, I think it's time to pack it up. Headed to Melbourne IVF, and there was a lot of women in there. I was pleasantly surprised. And yeah, I had my support person, Annie Louie, was on call waiting for me to give her a call when I was done, and waited, went into the main space where they do the operation and sat in there and did some dancing in there. You know, dancing Diana is working. And then my doctor came in, and I just, there was just this really beautiful assurance that this was going to be okay. I think also, yeah, when you have a connection with someone who's going to give you the best gift of your life, you do form an attachment, and I have an attachment to my doctor. It was good to see Dr. Daniel Lantsberg, and he just has this beautiful smile. And people have commented who have seen his smile have said, oh my God, he has the sweetest smile. And I was like, I know. And I think that's why I went to him. I think for IVF or being a single mum, you really have to find a doctor who really like gets you. This man is not afraid to tell me off. Well, I'll tell you later why. I walk into the operation room, I hand my phone to one of the nurses. I wanted to film this procedure of them collecting my eggs. As I was lying there with the gas in my face, I said, I just want to sing. And then I sang the song, baby, 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 oh, like baby, 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 oh, like baby, 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 oh, and then conged out. And I can't believe how fast it goes, because when I wake up, I think they've just getting started, but they've already done the procedure. I find out that I have 10 eggs retrieved. The nurse who's taking care of me now is a fan on Facebook. Dr. Daniel comes, visits me. They give me some nutrients and protein, and I'm off my way. And Annie Louie, who had passed out in her car, eventually did pick me up and got me home, and we just lied on my couch. Let's go to Wednesday. I knew I was doing a fresh embryo transfer, and during the Friday to Wednesday, my doctor's informing me of how many embryos I have, and I had 7 embryos, which is an amazing number of embryos to have. Now, I did get confused when eventually I had 5 genetically tested, and I thought the 5 were successful embryos. I learned later, no, it wasn't. In the end, I had 5 tested embryos. 2 are beautiful, 2 have abnormal, so I cannot use them, and 1 does have a defect of some sort. So 10 eggs scooped out, 7 embryos were created. Out of them, 5 were genetically tested. I had 1 inside of me on Wednesday, the 6th of May. And I got to tell you, wow. Wowzers. So I asked my dearest friend Phoebe Mason to come with me, and I would love to hear her perspective, because she was really shocked that she was allowed to come into the room, and I hadn't invited her to come into the room. I thought she was only allowed to come into reception and just, walk me there and walk me back home. And so while waiting for Dr. Daniel, we were just chatting and had my flowers ready for him. I just felt like I wanted an abundant day of flowers. So I went shopping and spent a lot of money on flowers and decorated my house, because I knew that when I came back from my embryo transfer, I wanted to come home with flowers, because I knew this couch was going to be my resting space for the next 48 hours, because I wanted this embryo to find that lining. I wanted this embryo to find its home, and I just wanted to lie here and see beautiful things. And in buying an abundance of flowers, I also got Phoebe some flowers, and I got Dr. Lantsberg some flowers. And his face was pretty shocked when I handed him some flowers. And the reason why I give people flowers, particularly sunflowers, is that sunflowers light the way. Sunflowers stand stoically and guide people. And I feel like there are so many important people in my life. Unfortunately, I didn't find someone to hold my hand and have a child with me. But then I have this kind of like miracle worker who is doing work so that I can be a mother. And I want to give that some sunflowers. So I thought it was really important that I wanted to give him and his team and his family some sunflowers so that they can remember the great work they do. I think I need a break. And then this is the moment when I gave him the flowers. I kind of looked at him and said, just double checking, can Phoebe come in with me? And he said, yeah, sure. And I just realized, of course you can bring a person, because if you were in a marriage or relationship, you could bring your partner in. And I just forgotten that. And so Phoebe became my partner. And I got to tell you that once I told my sister that Phoebe was allowed in the room, my sister was so upset, because she wanted to be in that room. And then I told other friends, and like Lizzie, who wants to be my other sister. So we're trying to figure out who's going to come to the next embryo transfer. So we walked into the room. There's a bed and there's 3 other staff. One's a scientist, and he's pretty cute. Me and Phoebe were acknowledging him. Oh, I got to tell you this funny story. I decided that I wanted to have this child in joy. I wanted to do this in joy, and I wanted to look hot. So I decided to curl my hair. I decided to wear a dress. I decided to put makeup on, because this was to me a date. And I was going to have a date with my future baby. And I wanted to look good for it. And I wanted all these people who was going to be in this room to be my multiple date people. I just wanted this to be a really great occasion. I wanted to celebrate this. As we're going down the lift, there was a guy in there, and he was like, hey, you look great. That dress looks great. And as we left the lift, I turned to Phoebe and said, it's too late, buddy. It's too late. And we walked to Melbourne IVF. In this room, there are now 5 people. Phoebe, who's my support worker, Dr. Daniel, who's going to do the implantation, the scientist who's going to give him the embryo to put it inside me, and 2 nurses. One nurse holds my hand, the other nurse just makes sure everything's okay. We just get the clear zone, who can be filmed and who can't be filmed, because that's very important. And I did want footage of this. I wanted the creation. I'm paying for it, so I might as well see the creation of it. It was pretty much put on the gown, lie down, and bam, let's go. And we see my embryo looking beautiful. And before this, Dr. Daniel had told me that my embryo, 4 perfect embryos, 4 A+. He was very impressed. He said, Diana, you've overachieved. I was like, hallelujah for that. I am an overachiever. This one was a very good A+ embryo, and they were going to put this one inside of me. So I lied down. Phoebe was here on my right side. One nurse was standing by me, holding my hand and my stomach with the ultrasound. And Dr. Lantsberg was down there, and the scientist was over in the corner with his laboratory hands inside the machine with my embryo. And look, an embryo is probably a millimeter, half of a millimeter. Kind of crazy that all this happened in 2 minutes. Before this happened, I was very nervous. I had dropped the clipboard to sign. In my form, I had written that I was Afrikaans speaking. I was really, really nervous. I was really hyped up. And I think when I'm really hyped up, I just want to make people have the same energy as me. While lying down, I was talking a lot. I was cracking everyone up. I had a joke, a line. I was in it. I was doing stand-up in my embryo transfer room. To the point where Dr. Daniel Lantsberg had to stop and say, Diana, he said, Diana, I love it that you can make me laugh, but for the next 2 minutes, you cannot make me laugh, because this is very important. And I was like, correct. This is true story. So I stopped cracking the jokes, and I sat, and it was in the moment, and let that happen. Scientist guy gets my embryo, walks 3 steps to my doctor to give him the syringe. Dr. Lantsberg pops it inside of me, and he said, we're going to count down. You're going to see flash, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we see a flash of the embryo being implanted. And that was cool. And there is video footage of it. And I will release it now. Whoa. Am I pregnant? But I don't think a pregnancy is pregnant until I get a positive pregnancy, right? But I had an embryo inside of me. And the drugs that I had to take afterwards were pretty hardcore. And I have learned to make sure to listen to my doctors when it comes to putting more hormones inside of me. I had to put hormones vaginally to get my lining thick. And yeah, it was pretty intense. Walking around town, lying down, like going, oh my God, there's like this teeny weeny thing inside of me. And could be the baby. Unfortunately, on May 13th, so 3 days before my blood test to find out if I was pregnant, I started to spot. And then on Thursday morning, which was my 41st birthday, I really knew that I did not have a baby inside of me because my period came and it was ruthless. The period was pretty ruthless. And I knew it was done. I think the worst thing was, yeah, one, it was my birthday. But two, I was like, God damn, this is expensive. And number three, I had to do an early blood test, pregnancy blood test in Bondi Junction. And I wasn't home. I'd flown up to Sydney and I realized maybe possibly going to Sydney wasn't a good idea for a comedy festival. Maybe I should have cancelled. Maybe there's all these maybes, and I understand now with all these question marks about children and having children and precautions you take. This is all in hindsight. Like, who knew why I lost the embryo? I was told by the nurse that I should head and have a blood test. So I went and found out there was a 2-hour wait. And I was like, all right, well, guess we'll wait. Luckily, they were like, you can go do some shopping and come back in an hour and a half. And I was like, thank God. So I went walking around, had a bubble tea. I'm just having memories of it now. That day was pretty hardcore. It was pretty sad. But luckily, I had reached out to friends before I flew up to Sydney and said, hey, just letting you know that I don't know what's going to happen. And I think I need to lean onto you guys. And this is a shout out to Ange and Shez, who really held my hand. And the day before my birthday, I went to Ange's place and we just sat on the couch and I said, yeah, I don't think it's here. It doesn't feel right. And then, Shez taking me out for breakfast for my birthday and just talking through it. And they were really going, go get your blood test, go reach out, get it done so you can find out now than later. It was my turn now. 2 hours later, I got into the room and I think I was like trying to be strong again. And the pathologist was like, could see I was being like, Ugh. He was like, oh, what's this for? And I was like, oh, it's an early pregnancy. He said, I think I've lost the embryo. And he's like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like I understand how that is. My wife and I, we've been through similar and luckily we have a child. And oh my God, he just cracked so many jokes. And then I was just laughing so much. And I felt like I had to laugh. I felt like I had to let go of trying to control this. I cried and laughed and snorted in the pathology. And I said to him, thank you so much for making me laugh because I needed that. I really needed to laugh, to let go and breathe. And then that night, I had the most wonderful friends who came for dinner to celebrate my birthday. And they grieved with me. And it was really beautiful to be held. Some of them are mothers. Some of them will not be mothers. Some of them choose not to be mothers. And it was really great to have my girlfriends be there for my birthday. And I see that as a blessing. Like, I know it's a weird day to find out you're not pregnant, but I think I needed that community around me that day. So, yeah, I think when you lose something, then do you realize you really want it now? And I really want it now. I really want to have this child. Yeah, I really want to sing to my baby. I think it would be really beautiful to sing to my baby because I've sung to so many other babies in my lifetime. You don't know how many times I've sung to babies. Yeah, I can't wait to sing to them. There's a new song I'm learnt for work, and the song is Here Comes the Sun. Oh, God, it's such a beautiful song, and I might play it later. So my blood tests didn't arrive until Friday, 2 hours before my first show. And, it was what we knew. I had lost the embryo. And I'm glad I found out before my show because I felt like a release. And then I had to perform 2 more shows Saturday and Sunday. And I had a call with Dr. Diana Lantsberg. And we just talked through the genetic testing and also what did I want to do now? Like the hormones were like, it was trolls inside of me. It was like, hey, let's do this now. I felt heavy in that area, which made me feel like I was pregnant. Felt like, oh, this is what the waddling feels like. And there's such a funny story. I was working at the hospital and my my friend was walking too fast and I had to go, hey, just let you know, I'm trying to catch up to you, but it hurts if I go any faster. Please slow down. And I really actually love that waddling motion that she and I started to both get really emotional together and go, wouldn't it be amazing you working and be pregnant? And I was like, I know, it's time. It's time. Yeah, I need some time just to get my body regulated. I'm not ready to do another embryo transfer. I just want this time to get my body up again. I couldn't go to the gym during the whole time. I felt like I was losing myself in the hormones, which I have heard. And I just felt like I learned a lot from my first time that I would love to apply to my second time. But I feel like I need some space. Also, the costing of being an IVF baby is so expensive. And so I just want to make sure that I'm ready. I do not want to be spending that amount of money again, so much money. And so all we have to do is look to the future and hold our hearts in the best way we can and not let that get in the way of what we really want. Sunny side, here comes the sun, always light, joy, but also seeing in the dark shit as well. And I'm not saying it's dark, this is just deep. I've been through darker shit and this is manageable. That is what happened in round 2 of my egg retrieval and fresh embryo transfer. I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been so supportive since I let the news out 2 weeks ago that this has happened. And I felt like it was important for me to do this is because I wanted to take the shame out of it. I wanted to take out the loneliness of it. And I am also a storyteller. And I've been telling stories all of my life. And I felt this is important to have a talk about. And I don't want to do this alone. I'm really doing this alone. And so I'm so grateful for all the comments and messages. And there are so many beautiful comments and messages that I will do another video celebrating them. So thank you so much. This is The Dirty Dish. Thanks for joining.